This video will be another one of my first look videos where I show a bike that I'm reviewing up close without having ridden it yet. What you're looking at here is probably one of the sweetest demo bikes that has ever landed in my fleet. It's the Lee Cougan Crossfire Trail. A few years ago we would have called this downcountry, but today I call it cross country. And I've been saying for about a year now that I think full suspension cross country bikes are going to 120 front and rear. So that's what this one is. Again, I'll show the bike up close, but let me go over some specs of this bike to give you an idea of what it's like. So it's got a 67.5 degree head tube angle. It's got a 75.5 degree seat tube angle, 120 travel both front and rear. The frame with shock is 1,850 grams. That's about 4.1 pounds for a frame and shock, which is crazy light. I weighed this bike with pedals, not very light pedals, at 24.7. So this is a bike, a category that I am really finding myself being drawn towards for the reason that climbing on a 33-pound bike can get old after a while. I was climbing on my trail bike, very respectable weight for a bike that's 150, 140. My bike is a 9er Rip 9 RDO. And it's about 32 pounds, very common weight, but to have a bike like this that's 24.7. So I was climbing yesterday and I was overheating, it was hot, it was humid, the grades were 18% on some of them. And I was thinking, man, it would be nice to be on a lighter bike and still have pretty good travel for the downhills. And that's what this more capable cross-country category is like. You may call it downcountry, I'm calling it cross country. Regardless of what you call it, let's take a close-up look at this bike. We'll start by looking at the frame. It's got this raw carbon look with a glossy finish that looks really, really nice in person. The logo is kind of this iridescent look that changes color in the light to include the little Lee Cougan emblem up there up front. So really, really good looking frame. The frame does not have any pivots in the rear, so all of the suspension movement is handled by the pivots up front. So I'm really curious to see how this rides in terms of a pedaling platform. This bike, as you're looking at it right now, is about $10,000 US. You can save a little bit of money by going with alloy wheels instead of the carbons. I think you can save like $600 or $700. You can get this bike in different builds, but the one we're looking at is their top of the line with SRAM XX. So let's look at the suspension. It's got a Fox 34 fork with Kashima coating. It does have a remote lockout, and the remote lockout operates the shock and the fork at the same time. To have one lever that does both is going to take a lot of guesswork out. So if you're going to climb, you just lock it out, and it's got two positions, so you can go a little bit firmer and then fully locked, and then to release it there. So that's really nice. Let's look at the cockpit, and the only component that I really am not crazy about is the handlebar. It's a one-piece bar, which is light, but it does have a bit of a negative rise stem, and it puts you in a pretty cross-country position. If this were my bike, I would probably go with a two-piece combination and a stem that's not so negative, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is a first look, so I can't really give a lot of opinion yet as far as how it rides. Now, it does have the cables that go through the frame, and I've been pretty vocal in the past that I just don't like it. It's clean. Once you get it built, it's fine, but I'm one who builds a lot of bikes. The downside is if you ever have to change the top head cut bearing, you are pulling out all the cables. You're bleeding the brakes, you're putting probably a new derailleur cable. So I'm just not a fan. I'd rather just have the cables go into the side of the frame. But every European bike that I review that has that, I'm just gonna say it, like, I don't like it. And I'm pretty honest in my reviews, but that, at first glance, that is the only quibble I have, and it's not a major deal, especially if you get this bike complete, right? Probably doesn't matter for you. Like I said, it is a very clean look, but maintenance-wise, it just adds more complexity that we could do without. All right, let's look at the dropper post. So it does have a Fox dropper, and it's got a really nice Sella San Marco saddle that I've used these saddles on some demo bikes in the past, and they are excellent. I mean, this bike is really, really well equipped. Drivetrain, top of the line, SRAM XX transmission. I've got XO transmission on my personal bike, and it's just excellent. It's just so good. XX is just going to be lighter. It's going to probably perform like my XO. It's just going to be a lighter spec And then looking at the wheels, you've got a pair of DT Swiss carbon wheels. And then for tires, this bike has Maxxis Recon Race, really good tire. I've used this tire before, 2.35. So this frame, by the way, can fit 2.4s with rims that are 30 millimeters internal. So you've got plenty of tire clearance. I don't know if you can see it in the video there, but this 2.35 does have plenty of tire clearance. The front is also a 2.35, and again, plenty of tire clearance up there. The brakes, they're Maguras. I think I've used Maguras in the past. They work really well. I'll let you know what these are like. One nice touch on this bike is that inside the fork steer tube is a multi-tool. All you have to do is rotate the top cap over, pull it out. Spring loaded, so it just pops right up. And then you've got a variety of Torx wrenches, hex wrenches, and also screwdriver bits. And they affix to this mounting system with a magnet. So you just pull one out, and it comes with a little ratcheting tool. So all you have to do is put that in there, and then it ratchets. That's a lot easier than having to pull a multi-tool out of a hydration pack. So yeah, that's a look at this bike. Very, very, very nice bike. 24.7 pounds, 120 front and rear, modern geometry. Really looking forward to riding this bike. My initial testing grounds for this bike are up here in Blue Ridge, Georgia, where I'm at right now. Today I'm going to go ride Fighting Town Creek, which is a trail system I've actually never ridden before. I've hiked it with my wife a few months ago, but never ridden it on a bike. And it looks like the perfect trail system for this bike. It's a cross-country trail system with a lot of turns, and this bike should be excellent on that course. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so, and I'll be posting a full review of this bike to let you know what the ride characteristics are and my overall opinion. So that'll do it for this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.